Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another Duet Night Abyss video. And at this point, there's got to be a realization, at least in some part of like yourself, or at least like in some part of like your mentality over here. Jesus Christ, how can one game keep losing this much? And it's like past the point of like anger, it's past the point of like frustration. At this point, it's just sad, because apparently Duet Night Abyss, the game that's already gotten hacked 2 times in the past 2 months, it appears that there's been another vulnerability that's been exposed and another vulnerability that's been abused. We got this post over here. The first thing I see opening Reddit, DNA got hacked again, and then about 67 crying emojis following that right afterwards. Because let's just be entirely real here, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a lot of talk about the previous hacks that this game had, right? We had this initial hack over here where you see this individual, Keitaro GG, basically hacked, got their way into the back end of like one of the loading screens for the game and wrote this, talking about how there's a bunch of vulnerabilities, how stuff is gonna get abused, blah, 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 all of that stuff. And this was made 2 months ago. Yes, 2 fucking months ago. And then they followed it up by changing the servers for the game to their name, Keitaro_GG over here. That's what the server says. That shit even popped up in the top right corner over here as well. Guys, this was all stuff that happened 2 fucking months ago. And then 1 month ago, the game distributed malware, Umbral Stealer, a Trojan horse, into its files that were distributed on Steam and through its launcher. That's something that happened as well. There's even a video made over here, posted in the PC gaming subreddit, a whole ass video talking about like, bro, like, look at this. Bro gets into like all of this shit, bro. Like what are these symbols, man? Like I don't understand this shit, but I assume the guy making the video does. This shit is not good. This shit is like really fucking bad, apparently. Like, holy shit, you gotta like download like some special antivirus software to get rid of this shit. And so that happened, right? People are talking about it. And then, of course, when you think about what was written in this message over here, right? People talking about how there are security vulnerabilities, all of that stuff. The response from Duet Night Abyss was really lacking. Because in response to this actual malware attack, this one was just like a joke over here, right? People were just like fucking around. Nothing was really that bad. They just said, hey, your shit is really unsecure. You should fix it. Then that was followed by an actual malware attack. And the first response to that malware attack, right, by these devs over here was absolutely pathetic, bro. They basically just said there was a login failure after malware was distributed to every player that downloaded the update. And then they had an actual response over here, right, where they recognized, gave a timeline for all the shit that was just completely fucked up. Like, talked about when the hotfix was done, when they received feedback, when login failures, malicious files, malware is being distributed. And then these devs did this. They talked about all of the measures, all of the new security that they were going to be putting in. Real-time monitoring and tampering alerts, minimize network and access control, server-wide compensation, hardening of sensitive file ports, right? They talked about all the stuff that they were doing. And the most recent news over here just seems to be really troubling. The fact that the game apparently got hacked again after the initial one, then the malware one, then the response saying that they're fixing everything and that they're making it secure so that it can't happen again, but apparently this shit happened again. And this is the situation, right? Apparently, Keitaro GG is back. Pan Studio father, Keitaro GG, is apparently back, talking about how the full DNA 1.3 source code has been obtained. The source code, the source code full, literally stolen today, and they posted it like 3 or 4 fucking times. And then apparently there's a custom Unreal Engine 4 source code as well. Guys, I don't even know how to begin to describe this situation over here, because this is just not a good look, especially when you consider the fact that this is just like one guy that apparently just doesn't like the game. One greasy hacker from who knows where just doesn't like the game, and he's been able to do all of this shit. This that we don't know if he's responsible for this one. I feel like this one's actually a crime, so he might be responsible for it, but he just doesn't want to, like, admit to it, right? Because he could go to jail for a pretty fucking long time if caught. And now we got this, guys. The reason why these links are censored over here is, I do believe, because, like, obviously having this stuff on your PC is, like, illegal. Good thing we can't actually see what's going on over here. But how does this happen again? And how does this occur right after making this official announcement over here, talking about how secure everything is now? I don't understand it. I guess the good news about this hack, though, or the good news about this exposure from Duet Night Abyss, is that it appears that it hasn't actually affected the players. But what this means is that while the studio over here might have gone ahead and improved their security when it comes to protecting players, did they not also do something to protect their security when it comes to, I guess, securing their own files? Because I guess you would assume, right, that the measure that a company should take after a massive vulnerability attack on the scale of this one, where malware is getting distributed, right? You shouldn't just up your security in one area. You should be upping your security pretty much everywhere else. Because apparently there's been a bit of a follow-up post when it comes to this situation. There's been a bit of a follow-up post that I believe explains a bit more about what's going on. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one over here. Repost about the source code leaks. And apparently it was not a hack. That's just this person's opinion over here, because I think if your source code got fucking leaked, that means your company probably got hacked unless you were openly giving it to people. And I don't think game companies that are currently in service just openly give their source code over to, like, fucking random people. I just don't think that happens. So first and foremost, this whole not a hack thing, unless Pan Studios is openly giving this shit out, I do believe that they got hacked, and that's how the person got it. So a little bit of misinfo right off the bat. This is a top 1% poster, by the way, so you can assume that they're probably just White Knight defending the game. They're part of, like, an elite crew. This is basically like the Elite Four from Pokemon, because I think there's only 4 people that are still defending the game. Anyways, here's some of the additional context over here that they decided to show, right? This is the original message that we saw, talking about how the source code, all of that got stolen, blah, 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 whatever. But apparently there was another message from Keitaro GG, the hacker man, Pan Studio father, from Keitaro GG. Pan Studio fixed the RCE backdoor issue in 1.3. I assume this is the RCE backdoor issue over here. Yeah, not pretty rough. The game is safe to play now. So that's what I meant by it looks like this hack hasn't necessarily affected the players, but the game's source code got stolen. When have you ever heard about a game or a game company or a software, whatever, all that got its source code stolen? Like, most people are gonna hear that and say that shit got hacked. How else could the person have fucking gotten it? And so they're using this messaging over here that the game is safe to play, but the source code is getting fucking hacked, and then saying, guys, look, it's safe. Look, it's not actually a hack. So let's see what the defense is looking like over here. This is a repost due to the last post, the post that we just looked at over here, right? Apparently this one got deleted because it's too embarrassing at this point to have Keitaro_GG everywhere, especially after, I'm not gonna lie, like, for a hack, this is possibly the funniest hack I've ever seen. Like, bro, he changed, like, instead of saying North America or, like, global or, like, Asia or Southeast Asia, he put his own name as, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, this was a relatively harmless one. It was just funny, right? This is a repost to the last deleted one because it was breaking some guidelines, apparently. And here's apparently the proof that that shit got deleted. We decided to remove it. I'm commenting personally because I wanted to apologize for the clumsy way this was handled. We as a mod team have been discussing up until this very moment to decide how to best handle this leak, as the whole overall situation is a bit unique. Yeah, it's just something new every day with this game, isn't it? Yeah, it's just, I mean, they're not wrong. they're not wrong. There seems to be a new vulnerability, a new hack exposed by hackers every fucking week, or really every month. It's been 3 months, 3 hacks. So like, who knows what fucking May is gonna bring, bro? In case you decide to repost this link again, please ensure that your post does not contain any names, links, channels, or any other breadcrumbs. Yeah, they're just, yeah, I think at this point, it's just the association over here is just kind of embarrassing. So yeah, they've gone ahead, they went ahead, they deleted all the posts, blah, 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 all of that. So I was debating if I should repost this, but I'll do it just in case more misinfo was still going around. So in the opening statement, they say over here that they're making this to combat misinfo, but then they're calling the leak of the source code of the game, they're saying it's not a hack. Yeah, no, this is just, unfortunately, you can kind of see what's going on over here. This is kind of just white knighting at this point, right? This is just 1000% entirely just white knighting if we're not calling this a hack. I went in and looked into the so-called hack data with a 200 megabyte file size, and what I found were mostly normal game logics. What? What does that even mean? Is that just what he's going? Is that it? Wait, is this guy a dev? Nothing in the code actually has anything related to the base game we play on the official servers. Proof? It contains logic to create sockets and login services in different ways. How the server handles stuff, but it's like a blueprint. API, tokens, etc. is not in there. It's just blank data, which you can insert your own local server into essentially, aka enough data to host a private server. Nothing that can actually compromise the base game. Hey guys, this is like saying, based off the way he's describing it, it's like this. Yeah, here's my house over here, right? Let's just say you have a house that is fully set up with like its own locks, its own keys, window locks, all of that. And somebody leaks the blueprint of your house that shows exactly where all the doors are, what kind of doors you need to like fit on the frames and things, where all the vents are and everything. And this guy over here is basically saying, yeah, just because the blueprint of the server or the blueprint of the house is out there online, well, they don't have the exact keys that are used to open all the doors, so it's completely safe, guys. That's the logic that's happening over here, because they simply seem to have the exact structure of the game. Wouldn't this just make it easier for anyone that wants to hack the game in the future to hack it? Because I don't think that this is information that's readily available for any other game. This game isn't open source. I can't just go to duetnightabyss.com and then just download this stuff. That's because this code got hacked, brother man. That's because somebody went into the Pan Studio server somewhere and got this. Or Pan Studios was just giving this shit out for free. When the realization is that this is another massive vulnerability. Remember, the blueprints to the house, how the cookie is made, the recipe. That makes it so easy in the future. So fucking easy in the future for anyone that actually does have malicious intent. Bro, they could just go in and use this basically as like a guideline for how to attack the game again. And the most highly upvoted post regarding this situation, right, is somebody just going ahead and saying, well, just because they don't actually have they don't have like the keys to every window and they don't have the keys to every door, it's actually fine. Bro, sure, there's nothing that can affect the official game right now. But do you think that this doesn't help in hacking the game in the future? Do you think that this helps the security of the game in the future? What is the reason for minimizing what the actual problems are over here? What do you think is the reason for going ahead and trying to not talk about how this streamlines the hacking process in the future? Because it seems like information like this coming out can only be occurring, guys, because they half-assed what was going on over here. Sure, the devs might have gone ahead and they might have secured the actual game servers, right? They put in new measures. But isn't the information that's showing up over here, remember the blueprint of the house, isn't that just going to make it easier in the future to circumvent every fucking measure that got listed out over here? Isn't that just going to make it so goddamn simple? Maybe not simple, but it's going to aid in the process of bypassing all of the security measures that got put up over here. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand what the problem is. Nothing that affects other players as far as I can see. Bro, this is, again, sure, there might not be an attack right now, but this just means that there's likely going to be an attack in the future. Linux is open source. Why are the servers not hacked? Linux is an operating system, you retard. What do you mean, server? What? How'd you even type this? It's an operating system. Like, you don't even need to be like a comp sci major or like super technologically literate to know that. He left. Okay, well, oh, he left the chat after that one. Okay, yeah, no, I would leave the chat too if I was that retarded. Holy shit, that was embarrassing. Anyways, that's my take on this situation over here. It looks like someone's doing their best to try to minimize the issue, not talking about what the actual consequences are, and just stating things super matter of fact in a way that's meant to mislead the player base. Because, well, let's read some of the responses. Why should we ever listen to Trust Me Bro Hacker? Am I missing something here? They're saying, why should we listen to Keitaro GG? What has he done before? Maybe you should listen to this guy because he already hacked the game once already. He did this, talked about how the game has a bunch of security issues. Then he did this as well. And then after he said the game had security issues, it distributed malware. And the first response over here, the most highly upvoted one, is saying, why should we trust this guy? Why should we trust this Keitaro GG guy? What has he done to earn? Or what has he done to be, like, proven reliable? What has he not done? That's a better question. What has Keitaro not done in this situation? How are there 93 people upvoting this to this high of a degree? Were they just not here for the past 2 months? Because this only happened 2 months ago for this one and this one. And this one only happened 28 days ago. Brother, what are we doing here? This game literally has a track record of a fuck ton of vulnerabilities. Can someone give me a TLDR? Game is not hacked. Game is okay to play. No meanies are trying to put malware into your PC. When the reality is, that's about half of the situation. Pan Studios still got hacked and their source code got leaked. And that's going to make it easier for hackers in the future to find the vulnerabilities in the game to hack it again. Where's that part in the TLDR? Where is that part in the fucking TLDR, bro? I don't get it. Like, why are they just not talking about the most logical next step? Writing this here again. This time, it was not even hacking. People throwing the word like TikTok buzzword. How the fuck did he get this? Did he just Google it? Did he just Google this? How did he get this? How do you think he got this? Did he just write them an email for it and they gave it to him? Did Keitaro GG just write Pan Studios an email and they gave it to him? Bro, I think every sane-minded DNA player has already quit the game. I think everyone above a room temperature IQ in Antarctica, bro, they already quit the game after this. You only have retarded people left in the community. That has to be what's going on over here. How is this not a hack? If you're saying that the game didn't get hacked, you're saying that this info was just handed out for free. So one is Pan Studios is just leaking their source code for free, or they got hacked. Both are bad. Which one is it? Both are not good. Like, they're painting out this narrative that apparently he just asked them and they gave it to him. And it's this easy to get the blueprint for their servers. Bro, what is even going on here? I fundamentally cannot understand what the reasoning or the logic is anymore to not call this a hack. It was a hack by definition. The source code is not decompiled. It's actual source code with proper function names and comments and everything. It is not hosted on GitHub. It's not publicly available. It came from the dev's private network infrastructure, to which he obviously has unauthorized access to because he fucking hacked them. Is it dangerous by itself? Well, potentially if there are more vulnerabilities in the game that are trivially defined now, since you can just read the source code instead of reverse engineering anything. Let's assume there are none, so we're only left with the fact that the devs still do not give an iota of shit about any network security, and it is full of holes for anyone curious to go digging or poke into it. White knights mental gymnastic themselves to defend the dev. And that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Most sane-minded individuals have already quit this game following this shit. Because, bro, this gets your bank account stolen, bro. This gets your logins, your tokens, your email, all of that. This shit over here can literally ruin your life. Nobody that's not, like, clinically or mentally retarded at this point is gonna be willing to have their life ruined, bank accounts stolen, social media accounts stolen, all of that, to go play a not a gotcha game, to go play a game. I don't think there's just not people that want to subject themselves to that risk to play a fucking game. And so the only people left defending it, right? Putting shit like this, right? Posting stuff like this, right? Top 1% posting like this, right? Bro, they're either stupid or they're really fucking stupid. And the thing is, right, this is the public impression of the game right now. This has a lot of engagement, 133k likes, 2.7k views. We got EO, we got the Glue Master coming in. There's no fucking way, dog. LMFAO. This is like the 10th time. What are they doing? It's actually only the 3rd. But that's the general impression people have, that this game just gets hacked, bro. Bro, it's literally a meme right now. It's now become a meme in the space that this game gets hacked. That is what it's known for, getting hacked and distributing malware to its players. Should I just delete my account at this point just to make sure no one gets their hands on the email information? Actual sticks and rocks as a defense wall for the game. God damn, they can't catch a break. That's what people think about when it comes to this title. People, I think, just simply don't play the game anymore. I don't think it gets any new players. And so it makes sense that you're seeing posts like this, right? It makes sense that you're seeing posts like this of people desperate to retain whatever's left, to the point where they're gonna take an actual hack, an actual vulnerability, and just lie about what it is and paint the narrative that the source code for this game is just being given out for free to avoid the stigma of another hack, when that's just worse. And that's the reality of this game, bro. They're bending over backwards, performing mental gymnastics, doing all of this stuff just to wash away the image of being hacked. But then they're presenting an even worse alternative narrative instead. It's unreal. And at this point, like, let's just be honest. How is anyone still playing this? I think it's just completely, utterly, absolutely 1000% cooked. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.